start off with a huge thanks to the Cubs and the Ricketts family. This opportunity to play our first of two games at Wrigley Field is something that I know our team and our program don't take for granted. An opportunity to play a Big Ten football game at an iconic venue like Wrigley Field is something that is really special and something that we're looking forward to. Have a great opponent coming in Ohio State. Having a chance to start our preparation last week over the bye week. It's very evident, which is very obvious by watching the film, a very talented football team, a very deep football team. It shows up on offense, defense, and on special teams. Very well coached in all three phases, and clearly a team that is on a mission. I mean, you can just see the way that they play, the way that they play together, the way that they battle. Talented, well coached team that's on a mission. Presents a great challenge to our team and our program, but a challenge that this team's looking forward to.
How much will it help not just you, but also Ohio State to have a more normal configuration in the field on Saturday with the opposing sidelines?
Yeah, I think it's just the right thing to do, and everyone that went into the plan of that to make sure that happened. Huge thank you to. We made it work last year. It was pretty unique being on the same sideline, but feel really confident in the fact that this is a great setup, and having two opposite sidelines in a traditional manner is important.
Coach, over the bye week, what did you learn about your team in just a self-scout mode?
Yeah, I think we learned defensively when we're playing with good leverage, when we're tackling well. When we're playing good red zone defense, we can go up against anyone in the country and play winning football. I think offensively we found, that's the way we want to look. I mean, there's still room for improvement in all three phases, and specifically on offense. But we saw a running attack that was able to get going. We were able to see Jack operate efficiently and pick up some critical third downs. Utilizing Jack in the run game is something that is certainly within his wheelhouse and his strengths. Need to be aware of how much we're exposing him to that, but found that when our team shows up and starts fast and plays in all three phases, that we can win close games, we can win on the road, we can play with anybody.
Coach, last time out against Purdue, 124 combined receiving yards for Cam Porter and Joe Hyman out of the backfield. How much of a key was that heading into the Purdue game, and how much of an aspect of the offense do you hope that remains going forward?
Yeah, it was critical. I think some of that, to be honest with you, was something that we thought going into the game, based on the structure of Purdue's defense, was a schematic advantage. We certainly want to continue to find ways to get both those guys the ball in their hands through the run game and the passing game. Both have proven to be very effective, catching the ball out of the backfield. Just bodes the question of whether or not those same opportunities will be presented based on the structure that we're seeing week by week.
Charlie? Coach, Ohio State has one of the best receiving corps, not only in the Big Ten, but in the country. How is your secondary preparing for that?
Yeah, the way that we prepare every week, but really proud of the development that we've seen in that room, the depth that's been created in that room. Some young guys like Josh Fussell really stepping up, but we're gonna have to prepare. Not only with an understanding that we're gonna have to force these guys to process post snap. We're gonna have to do a great job of staying on top of routes. We're gonna have to do a great job of affecting the quarterback. And when they take access throws, when you're playing off, we're going to have to do a great job of tackling in space. And, to answer your question directly, I think it comes back to making sure that we're really clean with our eyes and do a great job of understanding our leverage and tackle well in space. And that's something that Tim and the defensive staff emphasize weekly. But the bye week definitely presented an opportunity for us to hone in on those details.
Coach, you have injury updates on Bryce Kurtz or Xander Mueller?
Yeah, you're not going to like my answer on this. We are hopeful that Xander will be back. We'll know more here midweek. But I mean, he's there's enough confidence out of Xander and our team around him that, he's been able to be taking some walkthrough reps here. Last couple of days, has been running on the side. He's looking really good. So, we won't know for certain if he'll be available until midweek, but, excited about the idea of him being able to be a full participant on Saturday. Bryce, it continues to be something that there's some progression and then some regression. Hopeful that we'll have Bryce back here before the end of the year, but still very uncertain on his status for Ohio State.
Coach, you guys are facing another veteran signal caller in Will Howard. What have you seen from him on tape thus far, and how are you guys planning to slow him down?
Yeah, very mature, commands the offense, can make all the throws, understands the talent that he has around him, has done a good job of valuing and protecting the football, has been very efficient in the red zone, and, big, athletic, has been utilized wisely in the quarterback run game, definitely shows up in the red zone area. He forces you to defend the entire field and be cognizant of +1 run game as well. He presents a lot of challenges.
Coach, defensively, when you look at their roster, is there a group or a player or two that you look at and say, we always have to have eyeballs on him, always have to have a hat on him, like maybe a 3 technique, 2 inside backers, etc.?
Yeah. The problem with this group, you could say that about just about anybody. But 91, definitely shows up inside. 33 and 44 on the edges are both players that are incredibly disruptive, both in the run game and pass game. They've done a great job. Building, their entire football team, but specifically on that side of the ball. Went back and watched, all the defensive tape from this entire season and trying to find some trends on things that maybe they've been exposed in or things that they've struggled with, and that's a difficult task. They're playing at a really high level right now.
Brendan?
Coach, you talked a little bit about the change-ups that they've made to the Wrigley layout, but obviously after first 4 home games, Lakeside, going up to Wrigley, how is that going to affect both the team and the fan atmosphere, do you think, heading into this one?
Yeah, very excited about the opportunity for the atmosphere. Celebrating homecoming this week at an awesome venue like Wrigley, top 5 opponent coming into our place. Excited for all that. I do think we benefit from the fact that not only has the program been to Wrigley prior, but we were there just last year. So logistically, I think there's a lot of things that our guys are comfortable with in terms of what game day is going to look like. And at the end of the day, got to do a great job of in the preparation of the game of understanding that, utilizing that to our advantage. And then, when that first ball goes up at the end of the day, we're just playing football. It just happens to be an incredible venue against a, top 5 opponent. And this is a challenge that our group is excited about. And, we know we're the underdog. We know we're not just an underdog. There's no one out there that expects Northwestern to go in and beat Ohio State, even for that matter, compete. But this group believes that with a great 2 weeks of preparation and us showing up at our best, we can make this a 4-quarter battle, make it close in the fourth quarter, and, look up with zeros on the clock. And, the expectation is to expect victory.
Coach, you just talked about 44 and 33 for Ohio State's defense. How does Jack's run game and the ability to run true read option kind of help put those guys in the bind and make it 7-on-6 in that box?
Yeah, it's one of those things that, there's an old adage in offensive football, if you can't block them or you struggle to block them, read them, And you watch the Purdue film, and they're doing some of that with whether it be zone read or RPO, where these guys have the ability to squeeze on an offensive tackle, make it look like they're playing on the line of scrimmage, and all of a sudden get vertical. Purdue almost has kind of like a Y pop pass that potentially is a chunk play or a touchdown, and the defensive end is just so disruptive and muddies that look for the quarterback. He can't get it off. So those guys present some issues. But, again, there's no doubt in our mind that we understand Jack's skill set, lends itself to utilizing him in the run game. We just got to be conscious of how much we're willing to do that and be, not be reckless with that.
Coach, you guys are entering what, at least on paper, looks to be your toughest 3-game stretch of the season. How would you characterize just the belief you've seen in this group that gives you faith that you can make these games not only competitive, but perhaps pull off an upset?
Yeah, I mean, it comes back to the messaging that comes from a standpoint of just speaking truth. My belief and confidence in this group is unwavering. Whether the results show up, every single weekend the way that we want them to, those are things to evaluate. But really challenge this group after a two-game stretch against Wisconsin and Iowa to respond. And to respond in the way that we practice, in the way that we handle the details, in the way that we show up and compete and dominate our process, and then find a way to dominate on game day. And what we saw against Purdue was not a dominant performance. It wasn't a perfect performance, but the preparation that we saw throughout the week was really impressive, and the way that our guys hung in on the road in a tough environment and found a way to come out with a win gives me a ton of confidence and belief in our transition throughout a bye week into the fourth quarter of the season. And we got a lot to play for. We have one another to play for, but we also have an opportunity in front of us to extend this season and get ourselves to a bowl game, and that's something that I know all of us are excited about.
Matt.
Coach, Grayson Metz has made, again, with Xander potentially being out another week, Grayson Metz has really stepped up after not seeing a lot last year. It's admittedly eye test for me, but he seems to be doing a lot better. He just seems much faster this season, much better tackling in the open field. What have you seen from him year to year, and then also with Coach Spanos stepping up as the strength and conditioning coach?
Yeah, no, I mean, you're spot on. I mean, so much of that development for Grayson this offseason, coming off the 22 season before I was here, had some surgeries postseason, which, totally out of his control, but probably, limited his ability to truly, have a great offseason and develop into the best version of himself. And I'm just telling you, like, postseason last year, from, the Las Vegas Bowl transitioning into spring ball and then over the summer, you just saw a complete transformation in that young man. Not only from his attitude and the way that he was attacking, but just, the way that he looked. Walking around the facility, he looked like a will linebacker in the Big Ten. And, where I give Grayson so much credit is it would have been really easy to be frustrated with lack of playing time or opportunity early on during the season this year, and just continued to be, an incredible asset to us on special teams, a leader in that room, and then his opportunity came, and he was ready for it. And that's something we challenge our group on all the time is, not being satisfied, but staying ready, next man up mentality. And really, Grayson should be really proud of the way that he's performed. And it all comes back to the work that he put in the offseason and preparing like the starter every week.
Coach, Ohio State is one of just 8 teams to hold their opponents under 100 rushing yards a game on average this season. You mentioned Jack in the run game earlier, but what do you guys think you're going to have to do to establish the run early and get out ahead of the chains?
Yeah, it really comes back to your second part of the question. We have to find ways to stay ahead of the chains, and that starts off with just pre-snap operation and making sure that we're executing the call that's come in. Whether that's through run game, quick game, RPO, drop back, it doesn't matter. Like, this can't be a situation where we're stubborn and prideful. Like, we just got to find solutions to things that we can execute at a high level, that our guys can play really fast and stay ahead of the chains, and create advantageous third down opportunities. One thing that Ohio State has done an excellent job of, and it stems from their effectiveness against the run game, has been incredibly effective on third down. And what really shows up is, you start getting into that 3rd and 7+ range, you're really starting to fight an uphill battle. We have to find a way to stay ahead of the chains, get into third down in manageable situations that we feel really confident in, pick up first downs, create some rhythm. And this is a tall task against a team as talented and with as much depth as Ohio State has, but find ways to stay on the field and wear these guys out.
Coach, since this week's game is being played outside of Evanston, what does that preparation look like for your team, and how similar is it to like prep for a road game?
Yeah, we covered a lot of those logistics, this morning in our team meeting. In a lot of ways, it's very similar. All of our Friday routine, here in the facility will feel exactly like it does for any other home game, here on campus on the lakefront. The only thing that's changing is we load up the buses and head to the team hotel. We're just headed to a different hotel. So, really confident that our guys will feel like they're in a home game routine, just a little bit of a change of scenery.
Coach, any update on kicking, and are you going to continue to divide up the responsibilities between Luke and Hunter?
Yeah, no, the plan is to continue to really allow Luke to focus on scoring points when those opportunities are available, and utilize a veteran in Hunter Renner in the punting game.
Coach, it was roughly a year ago that you were named permanent head coach of this program. What is the biggest lesson you've learned about being a head coach over these last 365 days?
Gosh, I don't know if I can find one for you. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, everything that happens within this program, ultimately is my responsibility, and doing a great job of keeping my eye and on all those things, while also understanding that you hire people to do a great job in their role and owning their role, and trusting those people to do it. And again, all of us in this room know that this season hasn't been perfect or all smooth sailing. But you find out a lot about people's character when things aren't going well, when there is turbulence, when there is adversity. And that's one thing that I continue to really stand on, is the fact that, we got a group of people that check their ego at the door. They're high output. They're looking for solutions. And, it's my job to continue to challenge not only myself, but the program and everyone within it to continue to find those solutions, and, continue to find ways to improve. And, I think the Purdue week prep and the result that we saw on Saturday was a microcosm of a group that responded in the right way. But you can't, be everywhere at all times. And it's trust in the right people, while also being willing to ask hard questions along the way to make sure that, I got a great pulse of everything that's going on within the program.
In the last game, for the third drive, went to Ryan Holinsky. If Jack's healthy this week, will he play all the drives or start all the drives?
Yeah, to be honest with you, really excited about the way that Jack performed. Giving Ryan an opportunity solely stems back to, a unique skill set that Ryan has. He throws the ball different than a lot of guys. Some great arm talent. Is able to complete some passes and push the ball downfield when he's at his best. In a pretty special way, and really comes back to us just evaluating everything and saying, okay, what area of our offense is something that we can continue to expand upon or find solutions to be more effective in drop back pass, and that's a skill set that Ryan has. If we feel like that creates some schematic advantage or opportunities for us to efficiently move the ball, we won't hesitate to utilize Ryan. But that goes with also saying that Jack Lausch is our starting quarterback, and have a tremendous amount of confidence that he'll continue to execute at a high level and pick up where he left off against Purdue.
David? Coach, since being here, you've now thrown out the first pitch at Wrigley. You've sang the 7th inning stretch. What does Wrigley mean to you personally, and now having all these amazing experiences to now be back on the sideline at Wrigley Field?
Yeah, no, it's really special. I mean, I know I've shared this story before, but the first baseball game I ever went to as a young kid was with my dad at Wrigley Field. A lot of memories growing up being a Cubs fan and watching on WGN, and having an opportunity now with our family here in the Chicagoland area to take our boys down to Wrigley a couple times, and them being able to experience that, and then have an opportunity to coach a Big Ten football game now for a second time, and soon to be a third time later in the season. All things that really grateful for the opportunity. Pretty nervous throwing out the first pitch, but really cool experience to share with my family, and the honor to sing the seventh inning stretch is something that I'm glad I did, but also would be willing to tell you that I hope I never have to expose the Cubs fan base to something like that ever again. So,
Coach, the pitch, was it a changeup? Was it a curve? Was it a slider? Was it a fastball? Did you hit the corners, or were you on the black? What was your strategy?
straight two seam. It was right down the heart of the plate. I'm glad there was no batter up there, but I was happy I threw a strike.
Last one, Brendan.
Yeah, Coach, you guys did a good job defensively, getting pressure on Purdue, getting into the backfield against Hudson Card. Obviously, you talked about Will Howard, incredibly efficient, really takes care of the ball. What do you guys need to do to make sure that you get pressure in his face and force him to make mistakes?
Yeah, it's this really fine line between finding ways to pressure and get him uncomfortable, but understanding what that pressure does and exposes you, on the perimeter. The best plan of attack against an operation like this and a quarterback that's playing at such a high level is getting pressure with 4. And that'll be the ultimate test to our D line. Can we find ways consistently to rush 4 and affect Will? And if we're able to do that, we'll give ourselves a chance to get him off rhythm. But you got to find some selective opportunities to bring heat. But especially with his talent and his processing and the talent that they have on the perimeter, you're exposing yourselves to some things when you make that decision as well.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.